Look, neighbor Al's having a fire. Oh wait, I can have a fire now. I have a fire pit. Might have a fire tonight since it's cold. I haven't even thought about that. Hey Al. How you doing? All right. Yeah, I just realized I have a fire pit. I forgot about that. Okay, so today we're finally to the point of the Miata rebuild, Miata version 2.0, where we're doing like upgrades. A lot of it was just fixing the stuff that was broken. Now we're doing upgrades. So one of the things we're upgrading is our radiator and fan setup. So what we need to do for this is make a shroud for the fans to go on. So let me show you what I have. Oh, I already got my coffee for the day. Thumbs up. Before we had just some small economy, normal fans, no shroud at all. And it worked for street driving. It worked just fine. But for track stuff, the car was getting warm and not cooling down as quick as I would like. So we have these Mishimoto race fans. These are manly as hell. These Mishimoto race fans are amazing. Adam has them on this S13. Marco has them. Both of them never have overheating issues with these fans. So normally you'd use pretty thin aluminum and you would break it in like a sheet metal brake. I don't have a sheet metal brake, and I have a bunch of leftover material from the expansion tank. More leftover material than I use, but that's besides the point. But it is rather thick. So there's no bending this by hand, and I don't have a brake anyway. So we are gonna improvise. People are gonna call this silly and be like, oh, why would you do that? Why would you do it like that? You could just bend it, you could bend it. Well, yes, I could, but I don't have the tools to do that. I do, however, have an aluminum welder, and I do, however, have thick aluminum left over, so I'm just gonna use what I have and make it work. So my plan is, what we need to do, there needs to be a sheet with the holes cut in it for the fans to mount to, but it needs to be offset so that they can draw from the whole radiator. So to offset it, we're gonna cut strips and weld them on at like a 90-degree angle to give us our offset instead of having them bent out of the same piece, if that makes any sense. So definitely kind of the long way around, but it gives me some more aluminum TIG practice, and it'll be fun and we'll get it done. So that is one of the things I was worried about is cutting the circles, because I have a circular saw to cut the square out, but to cut the circles we need to use the jigsaw. Wasn't sure if it was going to cut through this, but it does. Cuts through just fine. That is one nice thing about aluminum. You do need better welding equipment and more skills, experience, whatever you want to call it, welding to weld aluminum. But in pretty much every other aspect, it is like the easiest thing to work with. It's super easy to cut. You can use wood cutting tools. Like I have a wood cutting blade on a circular saw. I have a jigsaw with a wood cutting blade. Like so much easier to cut and drill and form. It's just a little harder to weld, but once you get the hang of it, it's really not bad. So that is why I try to work with aluminum as much as possible. I have a bunch of it, and it's just way easier to deal with. So anyway, that is the plan. I'll show you guys kind of how we're gonna build this, but I finally came up with a solid plan as to how to build it, how to mount it, how to mount the fans, and all of that stuff. So let's just get to it. Shape is cut out, and the most dreaded part, cutting these circles out, is done. Pretty solid cuts. There's a little bit of overhang here and there, but all in all, no complaints. They are pretty solid. My plan to fasten these, since it is going to be offset, is to just drill holes and rib nut them. So I'll have a rib nut, so I can just bolt and unbolt them. By far going to be the best way. If I ever need to replace one, I can just zip it off. I won't have to like take the shroud out to get to the backside to hold the nut. So now, probably second most dreaded part is going to be making the lip. I measured how far offset we can do it, which is not that far because of the water neck there. So it'll be like strip, 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 3/8 thick. Start tacking them on, fit it up and weld them on. We gotta figure out what to do about this guy. I guess I'll probably drill a hole. It just depends on kind of where it ends up. So I wanna get the sides tacked on and then deal with this after, I think. Because it might go around it, we might just barely need to notch it, we might need to cut a hole. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, got the main shape out. Good progress so far. I'm gonna say things like, this project is going smoothly, but I know that that's a bad call. So I'm not gonna say that, but yeah. So we've got all of our angle pieces cut out. So I'm gonna start tacking all these up. I'll flip this over and just tack them all up, test fit it, make sure it's still good, make any changes we need to make. We also notched this for this. So we've got our little guys for that. So it'll just boop, boop, boop. And then once we get it all welded up, we'll seal it all the way around because the air is going to take the path of least resistance. So if it can suck through here or suck in the side, it's going to suck in the side. So you want to seal it as best you can. Let's get to it. There is nothing like cutting up a bunch of pieces of metal, putting them together, and having something to show for it. We got all the corners tacked on, all the edges rather, whatever you want to call them, the 90-degree angle. Everything's tacked, everything fits decent. So all we got to do now is weld it out, and then we'll have to work on attaching it. I'm gonna test fit it. I haven't even done that yet. I'm just like hyped, like. I don't know, I figured this was gonna be tough, and especially making these little guys and weld them on, and it's been solid so far. And I put a bunch of tacks so that it doesn't like split open while I'm welding it, because that is the worst. You start welding and then it kind of bows up, and then you've got a huge gap to fill. So put a bunch of tacks, clamped it and everything, just so that it stays like nice and tight all the way down. So we should have an easy time welding it. We will have to go through and clean it real quick with a wire brush just to knock like the rest of that, you know, grime off from tacking it, and we'll be ready to let her eat. Welds came out pretty good, honestly. Like, they're pretty consistent all the way down. They're pretty smooth, consistent size. Like, oh god. All in all, very happy with my welding on this one. It's always looks worse in the camera, but you get the idea. It's pretty decent, pretty consistent. Fits good. Ben's back. Got another Miata. It's got like
Walmart, son.
Oh yeah, we got to do that. Also, I got a fire going, which I forgot we needed to go to Walmart. But I started up the fire because it's nice and cold out tonight. Got some pallet wood to throw on this thing.
How are we supposed to watch House of Cards and play iRacing if we're gonna sit by some lame ass fire?
Excuse me? You were on board with the fire idea earlier.
Yep, I said let's go to Walmart and get some chairs.
True. We can't really put it out.
I mean, I gotta pee.
We just gotta let it ride. All right, I'll see you guys in the morning. Pick this back up with other stuff we gotta do. For everyone who's been giving me crap about my gauges not working, side note, Garage Built hoodie, check it out. TaylorDrifts.com. Thank you. Merch in the description. Help your boy out. All right, so we're trying to, okay, first off, this is an NA Speedo. It is cable driven. So there's a cable that plugs in here and spins it. It's mechanical, which is why it will not work for me, because even if I had a 256, it's all electronic. It's an electronic Speedo. Other difficult thing, CD09 does not have a Speedo in the transmission. The Speedo for a 350Z or G35 is at the diff, the reluctor wheel on the axle, which I could make something like that, like a crank signal. But anyway, Ben's trying to figure out getting an NA bezel, which is this guy, to fit on the NB cluster, because the NB cluster has an electric Speedo. I just want to show you guys, because everyone's like, Taylor, why don't your gauges work? I'm like, it's more complicated than that. I promise. So what I'm gonna do today, I want to finish making the mounts for this. I need to weld little tabs on, like 3 of them, to where I can drill the holes and bolt into this for the top and bottom. And then we're gonna work on getting the master cylinder on the Miata, the new master cylinder. It's up there. I'll have to lower it down. That's the plan. It's cold, guys. It's probably like 45, and that is cold for me. I don't even care what you Northerners say. That's freaking cold, okay? It's cold. I'll probably warm up when I start working. It's a lot colder out here. I'm gonna start a fire. We got a fire going today. I love fires. I have a fire pit. I want to use it. Get ourselves a fast burner in here. Let her eat. It's a little windy. Fire died down a little bit, but we're keeping it going. Got the holes drilled in the fan shroud for the rib nuts. I did run out of rib nuts. I have 1 left, but I used the rest of them on the body kit install. So I'm waiting for those to come in tomorrow. Got my weather stripping on. This is what came with the Mishimoto shroud that I had. That wasn't the right size to fit. It was the right size. I measured wrong, and it wasn't gonna fit this. But anyway, got that on. So now I got my little tabs cut. We're gonna do 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, just so we can suck it tight up against the radiator to try to prevent any air from coming in the side. And yeah, I'm gonna figure out where I wanna put them, mark them, tack them, weld them. So we have our tabs cut, we have our radiator prepped, we have them marked where they go, 5, 13, 21. But we should be good to go. Let's send it. Got our brackets all welded on. Will you focus? It's kind of interesting. It's really easy to make an aluminum weld look decent, like make it look 80%. But that last 20%, where like the weld porn you see, where it's like these perfectly defined like dimes without the like oxidation, and I don't know how to explain it. But like that perfect weld look is really hard. But to get this is super easy. It's interesting how that works. Aluminum's like a lot more forgiving on your mistakes. When you're welding steel, if you move the torch up a degree, if you slide your like hand just a little too far and the dab's a little bigger, you see all of that stuff really, it's really defined. Whereas with aluminum, if you mess up, like it really doesn't matter. Like it still comes out looking fine. It's just kind of weird. It's really not that hard, aluminum. The hardest part about welding aluminum is just the temperature change, because it heats up very quickly and it cools down quickly. So when you start welding, you have to use a ton of amperage to get a good puddle going and get everything flowing. But then once the material heat soaks, you use half that amperage and it flows just as well. So you got to learn like pedal modulation. That is something that welding aluminum has taught me, and something I didn't really do before. You know, like how to back off the pedal some to get like for less amperage or more or whatever. One thing I do still need to learn is like feeding the wire while I'm welding. I can do it while I'm not welding, but to feed it and dab it into the puddle, I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't really tried, but I need to learn that, because right now I just dab it in until it gets too short, and then I stop, and then I feed it, and I dab it until it gets too short. But anyway, we are pretty much done with this. Well, I'm gonna set it up and make sure everything still fits good. So this is more or less how it's gonna go. Got our holes for the fans. Still, like I said, need to drill the holes for these. In hindsight, I probably should have welded them right on this edge here, so they would have been a little closer, but I wanted them to be a little further away so that I could pull it tight. I don't know if that makes any sense. But either way, happy with the result. Definitely for something just out of spare material, which I guess you can't really call that spare material because it's so much. Also, I gotta say, sunny, nice chilly day, fire going on, but it's almost dead, but still, fire going on. As my dad would say, this does not suck. I love weather like this, man. It puts me in such a good mood. Okay, moving on to the master cylinder. We're gonna try to figure out how it goes. I'm not 100% sure because it's got like lines and unions and stuff, but we'll figure it out. We got this. I have faith. Brake master cylinder installed. That was honestly a lot easier than I thought. The lines are like just the right length to go to the T and go to the union. I do need to mount my lines better to the firewall because they're kind of pulled back right now, but all in all, that was incredibly easy. And like I said, it looks freaking sick in there. Dual reservoir Johnny. And we got bleeders so we can bench bleed it without taking it off, which is awesome, or without taking the lines off at least. So that is dope. All in all, much easier install than I anticipated. Very happy with it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw these headlight buckets in. I was having trouble, I tried to put this one on the other day and I was having trouble getting it in, but we'll figure it out, no big deal. But I wanna get those on and I can bolt the expansion tank down properly and then bolt the headlight covers on and then pretty well caught up for car prep. All right, headlight buckets are in, headlight covers are on, expansion tank's in, master cylinder's in, radiator setup's done-ish. Gotta do rib nuts, but AJ and Vincent are here doing the clutch on AJ's car. Yeah. Fun stuff, man. Oh, you guys already got the trans out. Yeah. Freaking shredders.
You can't tell people I let people use my lift because then other people will be like,
no, they paid. They paid monies. $1,000 to rent the lift.
They paid by helping me change my trains at the track.
Exactly, exactly.
In 45 minutes.
They're good friends. They help me do stuff too. Didn't help me today. Too busy changing your own clutch. Jeez, the hell.
I got free hands.
I'm already done. Speaking of, I'm gonna go ahead and call it, guys. Got a good bit done. Got a lot of random stuff done that we needed to get done. Very excited about that. Picking up the engine tomorrow. Engine surprise. Probably won't be here till this weekend or like early next week. That's a big thing. Very exciting. But all in all, we're getting there. We're getting there. We should be able to get the engine, all the stuff swapped over and everything by the end of this week. The engine surprise will delay us by a few days as far as putting the engine in the car, but regardless, we're getting there. We're getting there. Rear caliper should be here soon. I'm gonna work on the handbrake thing, draw that up again, test it, make it, etc. I might just make it out of aluminum because I can cut it and drill it. I might just do that. Maybe that'll be a project for tomorrow or the next day. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Say bye, guys.
See you guys later.